Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage. So tonight we're looking at April gaming news. So this is everything that basically was interesting or happened just in the month of April. So on YouTube I have archived February, March, April, and like on YouTube I'm archiving everything. So I mean by the end of this year I'm going to have quite a big channel. But one of the things that I'm playlisting is gaming news. And what I do is I basically spend anywhere from, 4 to 6 hours probably watching other news sites or news channels, reading up on news on the web, and looking up stuff through like the Microsoft Store and things like that to gather news and bring it to you guys in a condensed 1 hour long package. So that's how a lot of them end up being. Again, I try to make them as short as I can, but there's usually so much to go through. And I try to keep things relevant and also a little bit for everybody. But games that have come out, things that have happened with companies, and everything in between. So let's go ahead and get into it. So let's see, Ark 2 is delayed till 2024. So this is again related to Ark Survival. That's been out for quite some time. I haven't played Ark Survival myself, but I've heard a lot of people have enjoyed it. And but yeah, unfortunately, Ark 2 is not going to be coming out this year. It's now slotted for the end of 2024. So they must need it. But I will say, as we'll get through some of the news later, is that a lot of companies really seem to need delays. And we're not talking just one delay. We're talking multiple delays stacked on top of each other to the point where it's like, okay, is the game even going to come out? Like Good and Evil 2, which has been like 15 years in development, which I think that is officially done and over with, by the way. I think it is canned. Or we got other games that have been delayed a ton and still, like, it just seemed worthless or not worth it, like Fallout 76 or like Anthem, which still wasn't even in any ready state at all, and Skull and Bones for next year. Like, they've had 7 delays now, Ubisoft, for this game. And yeah, Skull and Bones, I can't wait to get my teeth into that one and tear it a new one, because I totally think it's going to be junk. So hopefully you guys are around for next year, because it's going to be a blast. Also, excuse me for my sniffing and my coughing. Allergies are just smacking me in the face right now, and it's been a blast. So I'll try to keep that, of course, though, to a minimum. So yeah, Ark 2 is being delayed because of complications with Unreal Engine 5. So they're having trouble implementing things and getting things to work cohesively or not be buggy. So yeah, they're going to be delaying it for quite a while to work on that. Square Enix is doing a Final Fantasy VII NFT card system. Yay! And this is crazy. So you can actually buy physical packs of cards, packs of 6, and then you can like connect them to your actual game and get the digital version. And then you have there's a platform called Engine that Square Enix has developed, but there isn't any trading, and you also don't technically own it. Like, you don't own the digital version. You have the physical copy, which I guess you could trade the physical copies. But yeah, you own the purchase of the NFT on Engine. So this is weird. So this is like a live service trading card game. So you buy, and you still buy it from flipping Square Enix, folks. So you buy the FF7 card pack, and then you upload it to Engine, basically. And then, you just have proof that you have it digitally on Engine. Like, I don't really see what the point is. This is just kind of weird, and it's still a little iffy from what I was able to find exactly on what Square Enix is trying to do with this. Because, again, you can't trade it with anybody. It's just proof that you have this kind of digital copy. I guess you can use use them, with like your profile picture or your digital background and things like that. But again, like, who gives a rip? Who gives a rip? No, like, this is not gonna go good. So it's just another way for them to lose money, which is okay by me. Let's see. Resident Evil 4 has sold 3 million copies in their first 2 days of launch, so they've been doing great. A lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of people kind of found, I think her name was Ashley, to kind of be in the way or standing up right in the middle of a shot or getting killed all the time. So, like, you're constantly saving Princess, right? But I guess, of course, she's in the original, so yeah, she's got to be in there. But yeah, she is still, like, just as annoying. And then some people didn't necessarily like the voice acting for a few of the characters, but overall the game is like really well done. They've kind of tweaked a few things, they've modified a few things, or added features and made things better. Excuse me. And so yeah, that's gone pretty well for them. One thing that is not good is they now have a exclusive upgrade system for your weapons. And so they've waited about 2 weeks to implement this. After all the reviews came out, after most people already bought their copies or picked them up as pre-orders. Excuse me, folks, got a cough. And yeah, now what they're doing is they're opening up in their store a way for you to basically purchase what's called a ticket in the game. And then you can use that ticket toward a weapon to exclusively upgrade it that you have to pay for. And again, these are anywhere from, a couple bucks to like $7 or $8, maybe 10. I haven't played it myself, so I don't know. But yeah, what sucks is they waited. And we've seen this behavior before, like with what Sony did with Gran Turismo 7 or 8 or whatever the heck they're on now. But anyway, the last Gran Turismo game is like, all the reviews came out, everybody could talk about it, everybody could buy it, and then, within a week or like a couple of weeks, Sony changes it and implement and totally change how the entire economy structure works in the game, and like the grind gets 5 or 6 times longer than what it should have been, and some cars are basically like impossible to grind because they're so freaking expensive, like $26 million. So you just race and race and race and race, and what they're trying to do is, we've seen this before, this is not new behavior, is that they're trying to get you to the grindy part of the game so that you can then just, take the cheat code, go to the store, purchase some currency or a token or ticket or whatever the crap, and then just, take the shortcut and spend some money. Excuse me, folks. And so, yeah, that is horrible. Boy, this news is going to be rough, I think. My nose is just going insane. And then I'm coughing like crazy. What a horrible time. Thanks for those that are bearing with me. So yeah, that's a really kind of trashy move to try to get more money out of, Resident Evil 4. And again, it was a really good game. People really enjoyed it, held true to the original. They tweaked a few things and added some things that made the game better or more enjoyable, just like the Dead Space remake, right? It holds true to the spirit. A lot of things are the same, but they've tweaked a few things to make it better, too. Except they didn't add an exclusive upgrade system to their game. So yeah, that sucks. Oh, I'm gonna need some Kleenex too. My allergies, folks. This is horrible. But the show must go on. Okay, so we've seen this too with Activision with COD, like they've implemented stuff later. We've also seen this in Assassin's Creed. We've also seen this with, like, how they've changed things in the game. They've nerfed or buffed stuff, which has totally changed what your plan was and what you were paying for. Again, we've seen that in COD, and we've seen that in, like, World of Tanks and War Thunder, especially World of Tanks. Like, that's gotten really bad. So yeah, again, this is just another cheap quality way to push content for more people to just spend some money and to get as much profit as possible. And this is partly why I have the channel, folks, is like it frustrates me that we've seen such a decline in quality of content, and they've done everything they can to maximize profits. And it's absolutely insane to me that that people go for this. Like, people spend their money on some of this stuff. Well, let's see. Monster, the energy drink company, has 100 lawsuits out against gaming companies and even an NBA team called the Raptors for using the word monster or having a symbol that looks like 3 slashes. Right? And, like, I wonder if Monster's Energy is having some trouble with some of their revenue, and they're just trying to find ways to just get some money or some quick settlements or something. But yeah, over 100 lawsuits. And a lot of these aren't likely going anywhere because Monster cannot coin a word, right? You can't take a word and make it your IP or your trademark or your copyright. It doesn't work that way. It's a word in a language. I remember this too. I think it was Skynet TV over in the UK, and they tried suing Hello Games for using Sky in their game called No Man's Sky, which, again, is just a frivolous lawsuit. Like, I would be so ticked if someone was suing over a stupid use of a word. I mean, how ridiculous is that? So again, most of these aren't going to go anywhere, but part of the problem and why this is a big issue is that some of these companies are indie companies. They're indie developers, so they don't have a ton of money. Like, they'll eventually have to just give in or quit or settle out of court or something. And I really think personally why I think Monster's doing this is because they need some quick cash. And they know not everybody is going to pay up or will continue to fight it in court, or might even go bankrupt. I mean, I'd rather go bankrupt than actually pay. I'd be like, nope, here's the finger, and I'm going bankrupt, baby. I'm done. You're not going to get a dime. But yeah, that's really kind of crappy from Monster Energy. Ubisoft even had a lawsuit from Monster Energy because of the name of Gods and Monsters for their game that they eventually changed to Mortal Phoenix Rising. And so they say it was a creative decision, but it wasn't because of the lawsuit. Well, let's see. If there's pauses, that's because I'm flipping my mic up, cutting my mic out, coughing, getting back online. EA hasn't renewed with FIFA to use the FIFA name for their FIFA games. And so now EA has created the EAFC, which stands for the Electronic Arts Football Club. And they're using, for you Americans out there, football is a European term for soccer. So the football club. Boy, I might have to try this later, folks. This is getting brutal. I can barely make it one story without coughing. So the whole reason this happened is because the FIFA wanted $1 billion to use their name, and EA was like, "No, we're not going to pay that." So they don't have a deal with FIFA, so they've had to come up with something else. And now to get their new name out, they've been creating deals to get promotions and partnerships and get their EAFCs into stadiums and etc. to try to push their new brand. Because everyone's going to know what FIFA is, but no one's really going to know what the EAFC is. So that's a huge brand problem for EA. That was, maybe somewhat of a money maker. But yeah, $1 billion, that is just crazy. So good luck to FIFA. I'm sure they won't have any problem. They got games all over the world. And good luck to EA with their new name. Which I definitely think that's going to see some cut in sales. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this. Well, let's see. Oh yeah, something too with Ark 1. This is kind of crazy. So Ark Survival is going to have a remaster, which will be great. All DLC will be included at a $60 price tag. The problem is that they're going to take the old servers offline. So if you want to play at all, or you don't like the new Ark 2 when it comes out, or you don't want to pay the new Ark 2, which is probably a minimum of $70, they're going to take... Yeah, this is insane. They're going to take their old servers offline and force you to buy the remaster, basically. How trashy is that? So this is one of the issues with live service in general, is as companies decide that they want to switch something over, or that, a required connection online, is it gets into this kind of problem where they can basically control what games you play and how you play them and when, and all of the different implementation of basically you paying more money. The bottom line is always money. And this is just another way that is really a bummer. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it'd be like if they did the Dark Souls remaster, number 1, right? Which they did. Or the Demon Souls remaster. But you had no way to play the old version of the original. Or if they did that with, like, Dead Space. Hey, you don't want to pay $70, or you don't want to wait, then, we're just... is you could you could find a copy, or even pay for it yourself on EA's membership, or get it from the Microsoft Store. You could play the original version for cheaper, which is great. Like, there's totally nothing wrong with that. And but what Ark is doing is remastering Ark 1 with all of the DLC, which is wonderful. For $60. I think originally it was $70, and DLC wasn't going to be included at first. They got some, of course, negative feedback. They changed their mind, so it's all going to be included at $60 now. But still, yeah, they're going to take the old servers offline. And when the companies take away the choice of the consumer, it's not necessarily right or wrong on who wants to play what version. Sometimes there's not enough money for the new version. Sometimes they don't have a newer console. Or sometimes they already have the old version and they're okay with it. They don't feel the need, even if they have the money. There's different reasons for everybody. But people should be able to choose, right? But yeah, these companies, they're finding ever creative ways to kind of further consolidate and push stuff down into the ground to where we just have to worship whatever they're pushing. And, yeah, part of this channel is to bring awareness to that and to fight against it. For anyone else that's willing, I'm already there. And I'm not a fan of like buying new games anymore because they're so buggy and trashy and just, not the best. We'll get more into that in a little bit. Let's see. Sega is buying Angry Birds. They're buying the company, Rovio. And this is for future games, movies, and anything else associated with Angry Birds. So they're buying the entire IP and have exclusive rights to basically say whatever happens with Angry Birds. So they're really hoping that it's going to be a cash cow for them, I guess, because it's costing them $700 million. So that is a huge bet. But, who's honestly thought of Angry Birds in the last few years? Probably not many. And the movie really wasn't that great. I watched it, for free. Because it was, it was available. And I do night shifts, so sometimes there's times for movies, right? But, yeah, $700 million. That's insane. Let's see, something else too is DMZ. That is a game mode on the newest Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. It's free, actually, but they're putting skins in the game that are now pay to win. So it's not like this is a bundle necessarily, or like it's incorporated with something else, or that everybody has instant access to. These aren't like feature changes. No, you pay for the skin and then you get a perk associated with it. So let me break down what some of those are. One of them is that you automatically get a medium backpack at the start, and you can buy the skin for $10. And everybody that's played DMZ, you start with a small backpack, and having a medium backpack, that's huge. It gives you a huge advantage because all of your backpack directly decides how much loot you can carry out of there or try to exfil with, and what you get to keep into the next game. But always having a medium backpack, that changes the game. And DMZ is mostly NPCs, but there are some actual players too that are also trying to exfil. But yeah, again, medium backpack gives you an advantage over everybody else, because everybody else that comes in with a small one, they have to find a medium backpack. Well, you just get it all the time. Another one is through some data miners have showed that future skins are also going to come with a UAV at the start of the game. So you just drop in with a UAV. You can punch it anytime you want, and you're pretty much guaranteed the use of a UAV through the entire game, which that's definitely going to light up all NPCs and all players. So when you're trying to exfil, boop, you're going to know exactly where everybody is and whether they're around structure or not. And yeah, I just find that so cheap. And a third one that was also data mined is going to be a armor plate carrier that carries 2 plates instead of 1. So far, medium backpack, UAV, and the 2-plate carrier, they're all going to be, separate, thank goodness. Separate skins that you can purchase. And there's no way to earn these either, at least as of yet. They're just going to be sole purchase ones that you're going to be able to buy from the store, probably for $10 to $20. And and if this is successful enough, you can guarantee they're going to start doing something like this with multiplayer or with Warzone or whatever other game modes they have, like Infection or Gun Game, what's that other one? Ground War, which is basically a better Battlefield, in my opinion, than 2042. So yeah, this is another trend we don't want to see because we have one version where you can just pay through the grind, right? And that's been around a long time. A lot of us have gotten used to that. But that's also another one we don't want to keep. But now, pay to win skins. So great. Let's see, another news. Suicide Squad is now officially slotted for February 2nd, 2024. So we got to wait pretty much an entire year from the original release date to actually get Suicide Squad. Now, is 12 months with what they showed us? Well, it was slotted, I think, for March. And then they delayed it to May. And there was such a backlash with the gameplay. And the devs talking about how the game is designed and how it's going to, play. There was a ton of backlash. And there was enough that the devs are like, okay, we need to delay this. The idea, the assumption through some leaks was that it was going to be Q4 of 2023. But it's even going to be later than that. So again, I don't think... Is it Arcane or Respawn or... I can't even remember. Anyway, I don't think the studio wants to compete with Starfield. I don't think they want to compete with Armored Core coming out at the end of August. I don't think they want to compete with whatever else is coming out around Christmas time. Because let's face it, from September pretty much to the end of the year, like into November-ish, oh yeah, we got the new Modern Warfare 2 Part 2 coming out. Probably also in October or November. So there's a ton of stuff coming out at the end of the year. And with something that's already had negative press, that isn't already going to be able to have a complete overhaul of how the game plays, no one's going to be excited for this. So I think February is a great time to actually launch it because it's a quieter time of the year and people are still going to be looking with probably some money to burn. And Suicide Squad is going to come out, and why not? Why not? Let's give it a shot. But I think Suicide Squad, unless they drastically change stuff like with the big enemies destroying the purple pimples, or they implement more of specials and weapons and kind of flushing out the characters with their own fighting style, like Captain Boomerang is using a minigun. No. Shouldn't be using a flippin' minigun, folks. He should be using his boomerang, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're going to delay it for quite some time, but I think part of it, too, is just a tactical play to still get as many sales as they can, because they've sunk so much time into this game. They can't just, end it or delay it forever like Skull and Bones, right? They eventually have to push this out and try to make some money on it, and they got to capitalize on that. And so I partly think that's why they're pushing it until February. Let's see, I'll get to Redfall in just a second. Oh yeah, this is insane. So Counter-Strike, they've had a Go version, right, which is like the mobile app or whatever. Counter-Strike Go has been extremely popular on Steam. It is actually, it holds the record for most concurrent players at like 3 million at any given time, which is just insane. The next biggest ones have around 1 million or so. And I still think Elden Ring is in the top 10, to give you an idea. Oh, I'm so tired of coughing. Okay. So Counter-Strike Go is definitely a really big game, right? It's very popular on Steam. But they have a gun skin system where you can get opportunities. I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know if it's drops or like loot boxes or like once a week things on the store. I don't know how it works. But you can get opportunities to buy these particular skins. And they also have a resales market, in a way. And this is insane. Somebody bought a blue diamond skin for $400K in cash. Like, think about that. $400,000 for a skin on an AK-47. I don't even know what to say. Like, that's more than the value of my house. I think we could sell it for like $375. Yeah, I just thought that was crazy. There was an offer for a blue diamond knife skin for $1.5 million. Yeah, $1.5 million, and the owner turned it down. Dude, anybody even is willing to give me $100 for some skin on a gun, I will gladly sell it right away. I won't even hesitate. Be like, yeah, here's your digital piece of crap. Go for it. I'm gonna use this real $100 and like do something to one of my cars, or put it into the house, or it's gonna help pay for a vacation, or whatever. Yeah, that is insane. And this gets into one of the issues that I have with what the gaming industry is starting to figure out. Is the gaming industry is starting to figure out that there are these whales, people that can pay thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a particular item that doesn't mean anything in the real world. And so they can cater to those people and make a ton of profit. And this is bad because it leaves out everybody else like you and me. And that's not what we want. It consolidates the pool of influence from a ton of sales or lack thereof to tell the developers or the publishers, hey, this is not what we want. We want to influence you to make a product that we would like to have, so change that. But if you get these whales in here where money is really no object, all of that goes away. But then you're stuck with an industry that is just controlled by a few companies, where all they're focused on is the whales. And you can just imagine what the industry is going to be like. I mean, it is just going to be infinitely times worse than it is today. Stuff we won't even be able to pay for. Game modes we won't even be able to be a part of. Yeah. I can't even imagine. That is just such an incredible mess. Yeah, that is just that is just bad. Okay, so there was something too on YouTube that's been floating around. I've seen some. Excuse me. I've seen some videos of it on YouTube, like show up in my feed or whatever, but I've never clicked on them because it looks real or whatever with the little play bit that it shows me, and it's just like, it's actually someone with a real camera. And, whatever. Waste of my time. Apparently, it is a real game. So this is called, again, Unrecord or Unrecord. And it's the most realistic game ever. Now, go and watch this. And I really want you to, leave a comment or something. And, what do you guys think? I still think it's somebody playing a joke. And I still don't think it's a real video game. Just the movements and how, I still don't think it's real. But yeah, there's clips. There's been a demo showcase so far to show gameplay. And, I still think it's a joke. What do you guys think? Let's see, another news, also PUBG, name we haven't cared about for a while, is launching their own NFT in the metaverse. They're quite a bit late to the party. They've spent $37 million on this project, and they've had probably quite a long development to create this. It's going to be launching later this year, and the whole NFT project is probably going to be dead on arrival. NFTs have just completely fallen off a cliff. I mean, 99 point whatever percent are basically worthless. The market is gone. Tons of cryptos are failing all over the place this year and last year. Yeah, I mean, NFTs are done. I also shared, I think, in March news that, like, Pokemon is going to have an NFT thing. And also that Dr. Disrespect has his own game that also has NFTs. Like, there are still people trying to push this. Or, like, they've put up, they've planned... they've planned and put a ton of money into stuff. And they're still trying to roll it out, to see if they can at least break even on it, I bet. Probably like this program. Because, yeah, $37 million, you don't spend and develop that quickly. This takes probably a few years to get together, come up with a plan, build it, implement it, roll it out. I mean, it takes time. So, yeah, I bet the creators of PUBG are just thinking, oh, my word, we just blew $37 million because basically nobody's going to want this. And we're even seeing now that Bored Ape is like, it's losing its value in its own little marketplace, which is just hilarious. And even like Square Enix's Final Fantasy NFT card game is still going to just probably flop. I hope it flops like a freaking meteor landing in the ocean, dude. I totally want it to just get destroyed. Let's see, Jedi Survivor. So this game literally just came out pretty recently. And I've already had some stuff on the channel to kind of, give a warning, I guess, to those that care. And for those of you that bought it and are still playing it, whatever. You guys made that choice. That's great. You do you. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. What I was putting out on the channel was just to share some of the issues that people were already having for those that hadn't bought the game yet. And I think it's best that people stay informed as much as possible. And even if I only got a few hits on my video, a few people got to listen to it, and maybe they hadn't picked it up yet, or maybe maybe they hadn't decided if they were going to buy it yet or not. So yeah, the whole point is to help people. It's not to say, hey, I think this game sucks. Anyone that buys it is a retard. That's not what I'm saying. It's just to provide the information and let you folks decide what you want to do. And I think the world works better when we all think of opinion that way. When we all think of facts, right? We can all come up with our own stuff and make decisions for ourselves. And people should be accepting of that. I don't know why certain people just have to just rave and take it to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and just constantly, digitally yell in people's face when most people don't even care. So, yeah, just to inform you folks. So, issues is that there were some major bugs. The worst was on PC. The best seemed to be on PlayStation 5. And then in the middle was Series X. All of them are having issues with cutscenes. So, there's a bug where audio is constantly repeating, right? I mentioned that earlier. Some, like on PC, textures aren't loading properly or are taking really long to load in. Some people got stuck on the loading screens on PC. There were issues, too, with some falling mechanics. So someone that played on Series X I listened to said that they were falling through a pipe, and they shifted their character just slightly while they were falling, and then they were in this infinite death loop of their character dying and respawning and dying, falling and dying again. It's just like, oh man, that's horrible. So there's definitely some bugs. The day one patch already had some fixes, but yeah, there's still a ton more that needs to get fixed. And EA knew this, so they put out a statement like a couple days before the game release saying, hey, we have weeks of bug fixes when this game comes out. And just me personally, I think if a company comes out and says, we have, maybe days or a week to fix the game, okay, I'm willing to smooth that over. It happens. It's pretty common anymore. And it's probably going to stay that way. But when we're now getting to like weeks at a time where they're going to be fixing stuff, I think that's horrible. I think that's just bad management. It should have been delayed maybe another month so they could fix some of this stuff and deal with it then, instead of dealing with now a game that is now being played on their servers, and they have to hipscotch and tiptoe around that so they're not crashing the whole server system and all that stuff. But yeah, PC is an absolute disaster, so like, if you haven't bought it for PC, please don't. Like, seriously, please save your money. You're going to be happy. But on Series X and PlayStation 5, it seems to be playing pretty good. Again, cutscenes are kind of an issue. There's some other bugs on the consoles. But overall, it runs okay. And most of the time, it seems to run pretty good. So, let me know what you guys think. Have you guys found any bugs on it so far? What have you guys encountered? Leave a comment below if you would. Let's see. Jedi Survivor on Metacritic. So far, these are all user scores. Metacritic, the actual people that, like, check out the game and stuff, it was like mid-80s for everybody. 80 to 88 on every platform. The user score, though, none of them hit 5. So, people that are the users themselves, the customers that have played this game on PlayStation 5, Series X, and PC, none of them hit 5. So PS5 had the highest at 4.8, Series X was 4.6, and PC was a 2.0. That's really flippin' bad. On the Microsoft Store, I'm able to see that it still has 4 out of 5 stars. And my buddy that plays it on PC, or excuse me, on PlayStation, he shows that it's on PlayStation, it's 4 out of 5 stars. So most people seem to be enjoying it so far. Seem to be having fun with it. Let's see. Let's get into Redfall. This literally released today. Redfall is not doing good. So you might want to wait if you haven't purchased it yet. I think it is on Xbox Game Pass. For those of you that have that, congratulations. Please leave a review for us that haven't played it yet. Yeah, Redfall with the review so far doesn't seem to be doing good. On Metacritic, the critic score is in the 60s already. So not all of them are in, but yeah, most of them are saying 60s. And it's just kind of boring. There's some glitches. The graphics are not overly good. It's stuck at 30 frames per second, which we have consoles and definitely PC has been for a while, where it's like we can run at 60 frames or even 40 frames or 50 frames, right? You can get some of those drops out of 60 and then it'll come back up. But yeah, 30 locked in at 30 frames. That is really bad. And there's nothing graphically amazing about the game either. So why they had to lock it in at 30 frames, I have no idea. That's just, something seems really off there. On the Microsoft Store, it has a 2.5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, this game is not doing well. It's having some major problems. Out of the reviews that I read on the Microsoft Store, people are complaining about how boring it is. People are complaining about how some of the enemies are too easy. People, too, are complaining about how buggy the game can be in certain areas or for certain things. The things aren't necessarily... The story isn't gripping. It's not really engaging. And this is a bummer because, these are the same people that made Dishonored, and those were pretty dang good. But here we got more of like an open world style type of game, and man, it's just not doing good. And it looked like it could have handled more time in the oven. And this brings me to what IGN showed. IGN got to kind of showcase some gameplay, which I'm sure there could be a lawsuit if they want to. There could be a lawsuit to IGN to say, hey, you basically helped damn our game before it even launched with your crappy gameplay. Because let's be honest, there's some other people out there that got to like beta the game or got the game early, and they've showcased some gameplay, and it looks way more enjoyable than what IGN did. So, and I think this is also going to damage IGN in the future. Not just with, the Redfall studio, but probably with some others too. Just like, hey, you really made the game look like crap. And, yeah, once you break that trust, man, that's horrible. It's so hard to get it back. Basically, you don't. So, in all aspects of life, folks, do not break trust with people. Because otherwise it's going to damage your, it's so hard to get that back. It is so hard to get it back. Let's see, Dead Island 2. So people seem to be enjoying that out of the Microsoft Store. It's got a 4 out of 5 stars. People are saying that the gameplay is pretty fun. Some people have expressed that all of the legendary weapons in the game, you don't really get them until the end of the game, which is kind of a bummer. Because in Dead Island, you could actually work toward those kind of like earlier or mid-game and still kind of get some time to go through the actual main story with these legendary weapons and have a good time. The original also had 20 legendary weapons. And Dead Island 2 only has 8. And then again, they're all saved toward the end. So they're kind of worthless. And Dead Island 2 doesn't even have a New Game Plus. So they have this entire section of content that you can't even access pretty much until the end. There's still some side quests and whatever that you could leave or save for when you get some of those legendary weapons. But yeah, then there's no New Game Plus. Once you beat it, that's it. And that kind of sucks. I mean, New Game Plus has kind of becoming a more normal thing. We've seen this with some PC games. We've seen this with the whole Dark Souls series and Elden Ring, right? And we've seen this with, in a way, Ace Combat, where you can play the mission again and have some stuff carry over, and you can have a great time. And, yeah, I mean, what were they thinking? Hey, we're going to have these legendary items for you that just make you God, basically, and you're not going to be able to use them for very much. Then what's even the point of picking them up? Seriously, like, that's really kind of crappy. But overall, things look pretty good. The game's running pretty smooth. People were saying that the gameplay was fun. The story was pretty enjoyable. Yeah, it seems like the game's actually meshing pretty well. Let's see. Well, that's all I got for you today. I think I actually kept it under an hour. Again, sorry for my coughing. Man, I'm just having a brutal time. And unfortunately, I got allergies until they cut the fields out here. So, yay for me. I got like another 2 months of this. And so do you guys. For those of you that watch streams and watch on YouTube. So if you've been enjoying the content, folks, and enjoying the channel, go ahead and give me a follow on Twitch and follow on YouTube. Like the content so it can help get into the algorithm and whatever. And share this with other folks too. And the shorts as well. I mean, whatever you're enjoying, share it along with someone else. And the real reason for this channel is, Gaming Garbage, is to show that the industry has changed for the worse. And, they've totally changed what a season pass is. Thank you, Fortnite. They've totally changed the quality of games. AAAs are more buggy and trashy than they've ever been. The whole push of NFTs. The lack of content. I mean, I thought this was really good. I saw a picture of this, and it said, 2010, 2015. What it used to be is you have a car as the game, right? And the DLC is a sports bike, which would be cool, right? It's a whole new vehicle, and it's not as big, of course, but you still get to enjoy it and play around. Well, as time goes on, let's say like 2018 or 2019, you see that the car is now broken up into pieces. You maybe now have the body, the chassis, and the wheels, right? And you gotta kind of buy all these kind of pieces, and the motorbike's gone. And then you get to 20 or 2021, where the car is just further broken down into the game. Parts of the game you get later. And the DLC is, again, parts of the car. And then you get to today, and I mean, it's literally the clutch system, the transmission, the freaking engine, the seats to the car. The wheels are split up between 3 different packs. And it's just what the frick is the point of this? We're literally buying pieces of a car when we used to get the entire car at launch, at purchase, and then we used to get additional vehicles as DLC. And I kind of want to showcase this. I wish, maybe I will sometime in the future, but just as a thought experiment, hang with me for a little bit. We look at Borderlands 1, 2, and 3, and the DLCs that we had with that, and the prequel, too, is in there. So we had 4 games, right? And they were all pretty good. Most people enjoyed probably Borderlands 2 and the prequel the most. I really enjoyed Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. And the DLC was really fun. Enjoyed the characters and the story and etc. Then we get Tiny Tina's. And it's not like that at all. The whole system is built differently. It doesn't flow the same. None of my expectations were met, really. They had some of the same characters, which were cool, but they couldn't be a part of the story, which is freaking retarded, because they weren't a part of the, quote, board game. Which that was a really bad move. And then he constantly had people talking in your ear all the time instead of actually enjoying the experience and living through the game and the story and stuff like that. It was more like a narration up in the clouds. And I really didn't like that very much. And then the DLC, quote, unquote, that they had, the DLC was an absolute joke compared to what we had in the previous 4 titles. The DLCs of titles were different lands or different islands or different areas where there's a new boss and other characters, and it's just okay, this is cool. We actually get a different vehicle, right, for the DLC. It's not as big, of course, but it's still fun. And Tiny Tina's was a 10-minute arena that we got, and you paid $40 for this thing. Or 50, whatever it was. And it's just, I was so pissed off that they even believed that was a good idea. It wasn't a boss fight. It wasn't another part of a world that connected with the game. Again, it was just kind of this arena-like obstacle course. And then the boss was just bleh. It wasn't even a boss. And seeing people play that, and just, I'm in shock. I'm just in utter shock at what I'm seeing. And, that is the way gaming is going, folks. They're wanting to release game modes later to get you to come back and play. They're wanting you to continue to grind. They're wanting you to pay for more DLCs and pay more for each one. They're wanting you to pay for skins on your gun that you kill people with. And so therefore nobody cares how hard you worked for the gun, for the skin on your gun, because they're dead. They're more worried about your kill death ratio and thinking about how you cheated or manipulated the map or just sat in a corner or whatever, or kill streaked your way through. Nobody cares that you have a gold gun. And I have to say that consumers, including myself, are partly to blame on this, because as we continue to buy the broken games at launch, the DLC that is not DLC anymore, in my opinion. I mean, Battlefield 1. You bought a DLC, you had 5 entirely different map pack or content packs, right? Different maps, different weapons, different experiences. They added some equipment, and I mean it was a ton of fun going through all of them. I can't remember the names of these packs, but that was one of the best and last season passes, in my opinion. And then they started changing it to what we have today. And now they call it a battle pass, where again you grind for your sticker or your it's so stupid, folks. It really is. And then people still pay for this. And if the person doesn't know any better, that's one thing, but to accept a lower experience, it'd be like saying where you live now, it's worse. Nobody would vote for that unless they absolutely had to, right? The vehicle that you maybe have, well, it's worse, right? It sputters, it squeaks, it's maybe needs a jump start every once in a while. That is not, you would not vote for that, right? The same with your shoes, the same with your job. X, Y, pick something. You would not vote for it to be in worse shape or condition, or to have a worse experience. But that's what people are doing when they buy these games. Why? Why are we voting for this? And again, part of this, the big reason of this channel is to show what gaming used to be like. So I'm going to continue to have these retro looks because I know a lot of my audience is younger than I am. And I just don't think you guys know what you're missing or what you're accepting today. Some of us are figuring it out. So we have shows like The Angry Joe Show that are objective with looking at reviews for games and movies and TV shows. That's basically what they do. We have other shows or other channels that talk about exclusively games or content. Like the Act Man, he goes through a lot of this kind of stuff too, of just his stuff on Halo Infinite was great. Or why Call of Duty World at War was amazing. And so much fun to go through. And I see this in my friends list. While people are on throughout the week and what they're doing, they're either on a subscription service, they're on YouTube, or they're playing an older game. Every once in a while, there's some people that are playing Modern Warfare 2, or for a week or a month, I'll see the new game that came out, right? Right now, I'm seeing a few playing Jedi Survivor, and I'm seeing a few playing Dead Island 2. And a couple months ago, it was Hogwarts Legacy. And, before that, it was Dead Space. But yeah, there's a problem. The industry is sick, folks. And there's a lot of us that are older, that are in our 30s or maybe even like 35, 40, where we want you to understand that the golden age of gaming has passed. It's not the same anymore. And we would love to bring that back. We'd love to bring it back. I would love to have regular season passes again. I would love to have games that aren't breaking down and need like a week or several weeks to get patched. Or where bugs never get fixed ever. Or where games have to be delayed on an average now of 2 to 3 times. With some games having been delayed up to 7 times. Like Skull and Bones. It's getting dumb, folks. It's okay to wait. It's okay to watch reviews. And there's people out there too where it's like they would rather not really look at anything, you know? And there's something to be said for that. That's healthy and good. I really enjoyed some movies that some people have hated because I didn't watch the trailers. I didn't listen to any reviews. I just went to the theater and I watched it. And I had a good time. But there are games that we can all think of where we really got let down. And we really got screwed. And they're all within the last probably 3 years. Saints Row was another one. They totally changed it. You know, instead of like Saints Row the Third was a great one. Now they're talking about waffle makers and, you know, student loan debt. I mean, what the frick? Nobody flipping cares. No, like that is not what we want to interact with our characters with. And the story was just kind of mashed together and just like the open world was empty. There just wasn't much going on. I told people when I reviewed it, I was like, yeah, go get GTA 5 and play that. That's better. It's better built and designed and it's cheaper. And, you know, go have a fun time. But yeah, why are we accepting this garbage, folks? I want you to think back to what really got you into gaming. And I want you to think about that game and why you enjoyed it so much. It wasn't because you were younger. It was because the game literally teleported you somewhere. And you got to forget about all the problems, all the issues, and you got to enjoy it, or even enjoy it with your buds. And you just had a blast. And you couldn't wait to get out of school, or you couldn't wait to get off of work, or whatever it was, or have your family go to bed so you could stay up until 12. But like, they don't make those games anymore, folks. The last good ones that we've had, like really good ones, has pretty much been Elden Ring and God of War and maybe Hogwarts Legacy. And the rest of the stuff has been crap since 2020. That's 4 years of gaming. I even watched one guy, or listened to a guy, he was like, you know, I've waited for years for good exclusives from Xbox, and they've just been junk. And he mentioned Halo Infinite, and he just got Redfall, and he's like, this is a joke. He's like, I am going to PlayStation. And PlayStation has problems too. I don't think there is really a nice exclusive company right now, except maybe Nintendo. I mean, I want to play Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That's probably one of the games I'm most excited for, but I'll never play it. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention is that Armored Core 6 Fires of the Rubicon officially has a release date now. So that'll be the end of August. August 25th, I think, of this year. I'm really thinking of picking up that game. At least later this year, maybe waiting for the first sale. But I'm excited for that game. I really am. Armored Core hasn't been around for quite some time, so I'm ready to get back in. But anyway, yeah, back to just games sucking bricks right now. And with inflation, I mean, don't settle, folks. If there's something you really enjoy and it doesn't matter if it's perfect, that's fine. Some people really like the Sonic the Hedgehog game that came out recently. It was the first kind of open world. Some people really enjoyed Hogwarts Legacy. Some people are really enjoying Jedi Survivor. Some people loved Elden Ring and God of War. Some people are probably going to love Starfield while others hate it. You know, and personal preference, that's not what I'm talking about. Personal preference is okay. What I'm talking about is accepting the games that are broken. Tiny Tina's was a slap in the face. Battlefield 2042 was a slap in the face. Call of Duty Vanguard, the campaign was okay, but again, Vanguard was a slap in the face. I mean, these games that they're pushing are not good. And we need to wait to see if they're worth buying. Because every time they get enough money to, get enough money in game sales around launch time, they're going to think that it's okay. They're going to keep doing what they're doing. It's not going to change their behavior. What's got to happen is we need to vote with our money and stop buying this stuff right away. Just or like what they did with Resident Evil 4, the remake. They've now added those upgrades that you can purchase after 2 weeks of launch. I mean, come on. The game was great, it ran fine, and now you can pay to bolster your gun with, anywhere from $5 to $10 a pop. And I'm tired of the cheapness too from companies. I'm just ready for them to produce real content again, and they won't do that until they're hurting the pocketbook. And now is recession. Economically, this is the best time to stop buying. The best time to start is right now. Let them feel it. The only company that I really feel like is feeling it right now is Ubisoft. And it's because they've had so many games that they've pushed out have been junk. The only game that could possibly be their saving grace is later this year in August, around the time of Armored Core 6, is going to be Assassin's Creed Mirage. And that one you guys voted for in January, and so I'm going to pick it up. And I'm going to showcase that at launch. But yeah, please, let's change the industry. Let's go through the pain of having to wait, having to endure, saving our money. But don't settle. I mean, if you're not willing to wait for a video game, you're probably not waiting or working toward a better job. You're not working toward a better relationship, a better marriage, better relationships with your kids or your friends, or even having friends. Do not settle, folks. Do something. Do something with your life. Work on making it better. Because ultimately, it's not about video games. It's about making your life progressively better than it was yesterday. That future, you're either working toward that future today, or the future is going to be worse tomorrow. And you don't get to do both. I've seen some friends that have always lived for today, that have always settled, lower their standards. They are absolute jokes and losers today. They have no friends. Nobody cares about them. Everybody's moved on. it just sucks. They were some of my best friends, but I couldn't keep them anymore because they just weren't growing and moving forward anymore. They still thought your mom jokes were appropriate in the middle of a conversation that was serious. It's like, seriously, dude, I can't even talk to you. So yeah, don't be like them. Please. Most of my audience is men. Most of my audience is from 18 to like 35 years old. Please don't be like them. Work today for the better future tomorrow. And if you don't know how to get there, if you don't know how to get to that goal or that dream that you have, talk to people. But if you can't make your dreams practical, then they can't be goals. If you can't think of steps on how to get there, you're not going to have any goal ever. And if you don't have goals, you're never going to accomplish your dreams. I mean, I wanted a wife that wanted to be stay at home so we didn't have to pay for child care and we raised our children, not someone else. We moved into a home that we bought when we were married. We had my car for commuting, her car for kids, and I had a truck to be able to do work on our house or to help out family members with whatever they had going on. I had a 401k. I worked at a good company. All of those goals I've met. I'm 33 years old and I've met all of those. And we got 2 kids. Is it hard? Sure it is. Was it a ton of work? Yeah. But the same friends that are losers today, that still live with ma and pa because they can't get off their ass and go do something, they're still at home. I've accomplished my goals in the last 10 years. And, you know, they told me I was too serious. They told me that I worked too hard. They told me that I didn't have to work as hard. They told me that my standards were too high. And our lives are totally different. You know, it's just sad. It's just sad. And if one of you guys can figure this out, if one of you guys can understand what I'm saying, take time to digest this and be like, you know what? I want to change my life. At the end of this year, I want to accomplish this. And again, it's not necessarily about accomplishing. It's about pushing yourself to grow forward, to progress forward. If you can do that, you'll eventually get there. I mean, I had over $22,000 in debt. I paid $22,000 down on our house for 10%. So I had a mortgage of $200,000. I had my car and her car that were $10,000 each, roughly. For my car, I worked the dealership down to $6,400, and for her car, I worked it down like a couple $100, but we also had a trade-in, so that helped. My truck, I didn't go buy a nice truck. I bought a truck that freaking works. $4,000, paid it off in 5 months. We don't have a car payment, folks. And we use that money to support our children, to deal with the inflation that we've been having. And I have a job that's more stable because we produce something that the world needs, not because it wants it. So my job is pretty stable. And I feel confident that I can get another job with another company, even if we have to move to another state, which would suck. But I am never going to be out of a job. I'm never going to be not working. I'm always going to be able to find one. Because I can't let my family starve. That's not an option. When you can live with mom and dad, you can work at McDonald's. And you can work as little as you want. But yeah, when you have a family, you can't do that. You gotta bust your ass. You gotta go where the money is. You gotta learn to like your job sometimes. You gotta work the longer hours. But I'll say this. I mean, there are times where people fall on hard times. You know, and you do need some help. You do need to be supported by someone else for a while. But you know, if you're getting close to 30, well, I'd even say if you're getting close to like 25, if you're somewhere between 25 and 30 and you've basically never moved out, you're not a man. And everyone else that's already done that, that's already done the work, you can call yourself a man, but we all know that you're a joke. And I can say that confidently, and I'm sure that's going to piss some people off. But you have got to stop lying to yourself. Unless you have some ailment, disease, handicap, okay, those are legitimate reasons. I myself have a small one. And I still did it. But you gotta stop making excuses for yourself on why you fail. Because you only truly fail when you quit trying. Failure is part of the game, but learn from it. Ask other people how to be better, do better. Expand your knowledge base. Work on your skills. Set up goals. So you have something to work toward. And then flip and do it. Go get the better job. Get moved out of your parents' place. Get rid of your roommates. Go find someone that can be your wife. Go have kids with her. Work on that marriage. Create a stable home financially, mentally, and emotionally for your home. For everybody. And then continue to invest and work on those and make it better. It's rewarding, folks. It's life-giving. I am absolutely exhausted sometimes and sicker than a dog, but it's so worth it. Really. And again, you know, this conversation, it all started with settling for the games that are crap. But it's ending with you not being disciplined as a person, as an individual. Again, it doesn't matter what color, gender, race, age, how much money. It doesn't matter. It really does not matter. What matters is what you do with your life. No one else is responsible for where you are. You are. If you don't like something, you can change it tomorrow. You can make goals to totally be somewhere else in 3 years. And you're going to fail a lot, and that's okay. But we need guys that need to grow up into men. Otherwise, this world is doomed. So hopefully some of you are thinking about that. Or will think about it. Because I got so many friends, I've ran into so many guys, and they're just stuck. Because they don't have anybody telling them the truth. They don't have anybody investing in them. And that's also what this channel is for. I save a lot of these rants toward the end. Because I know most people aren't going to see them. But those that are disciplined enough to go through the whole thing, they get these pieces that I hope are helpful. that are hopefully motivating them to be better versions of themselves and to work on that. So with that, folks, I hope you guys are having a good week. We're starting the week again. It was Monday. Hang in there. Keep working on those goals. Keep working on yourself. And I'll see you on the next one.